Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to look at accounts receivables. So, in this session, we are going to look at all the setups that are required to implement account receivables. Right? I will this implementing the account receivables. I will divide into different videos to keep them simple, and I'll be covering different setups that are required. So in this setups part, which is the first thing that we do in any module, uh, I'll be covering all the setups required to implement the account receivable module, and then we'll create accounts receivable invoice, and then we will complete the invoice. We'll create the journal entries, and after creating the invoice, we will receive that invoice. We'll make a receipt for that invoice from the customer and apply that receipt to the invoice. This is what we are going to do in the initial first few videos of AR module, uh, creating all the setups, and I'll divide the setups into two different videos, and then we will create a invoice and complete the invoice, and we'll create a receipt for the invoice, and we'll verify the accounting both for the invoice and the receipt. So just to before we jump into the setups, let's spend few minutes to understand what is the accounts receivable module. So in the supply chain, right, in the order to cash cycle, where customer will place an order, and the company will fulfill the order, it will ship the order, and then customer will receive the order, and then he has to pay the money for that order, right? To pay that, the company will create a invoice to the customer, which we call it AR invoice, account receivables invoice, and customer will receive that invoice and he will make the payment either through check or through electronic payment, through credit card, debit card, or through bank account. He will make the payment. Once he makes that payment, we need to create a receipt for that payment in Oracle Fusion. That's where we create the receipt, and once we do the accounting for both the invoice, AR invoice, and the receipt, and later this data goes to cash management module, and that cash reconciliation happen, which we will look into when we are discussing about cash management module. So coming to the setups, right, we will again start with creating a new implementation project, location, business event, and assigning business unit functions, business unit assignment. And these are all things that we have done even in the AP module. Uh, when we are implementing the setups for accounts payable, we did all these. And but I'll cover the first five setups, and this bank, branch, and bank account. This we have discussed in accounts payables. I'll give the link to that video as well in the description. But in this while implementing AR, we will use existing bank account which is available for Bank of America Bank, and after that we'll create the system options, payment terms, and system options are similar to the AP. We have like invoice options, right? Um, Common options, invoice options. Similar to that, we have system options here in AR, and payment terms which are common, and receivable activities. These are all different possible activities that can be done in the accounts receivable module. We will define those activities specific to the business unit, and then in auto accounting rules. This will be used in conjunction with KFF, GLKF, accounting KFF, and it is used by Oracle receivables to derive the segment values for the GL accounts. And then we will create the transaction types. Uh, these transaction types are used when creating the invoice, AR invoice, and the transaction sources. These are the topics we will cover in the first video. And once we are done with that, in the next session, we will work on the this remit to address, right? These are related to receipts and standard memo lines. These are like similar to the items which we can use while creating the AR invoice, and receipt class, receipt sources. These are related to AR receipts, and we will assign all the required rules to the user and give the data access. After that, we will look in detail how to create a customer account, customer site, right, and bill to ship to sites for the customer. We will look into all those items, and after these are done, we will create an AR invoice and then complete it, post the data to the journal, and we will review the accounting entries. After that, we will create a receipt for the AR invoice, and we will post that to GL, and we'll verify the accounting entries. That is what we are going to do in the initial first couple of sessions. So let me go to the instance and we will start doing this. The first step is I'll create an implementation project, setup and maintenance. Click on activity list, manage implementation projects, create a new implementation project. I'll call it SM implementation project. Next. The instance is a bit slow, please bear with this. Yeah, I'll select financials. In the interest of time, I'll keep it simple. I'll select just financials, which we need to implement AR, and I'll move on. Save and close. So SM implementation project is a project that we have created. So we have completed the first setup. Now we will create a location. The navigation is manage locations. Click on go to task. Click on create button to create a new location. And I'll name it as SM location. Just look at the other options that we have. Those are not mandatory at the moment. And I'll save the location. Submit it. Location is created successfully. We will move on to creating a business unit. Excuse me. Manage business units. Click on go to task. Let us create a new business unit. Click on plus icon, create icon. I'll name it as SM business unit. Location, the location that we have created, we'll use it SM location. Default set is common, save and close. So we have created the location. Now let us assign business unit functions to business unit. Assign business unit business functions. This is the task. Click on go to task icon and let us select our business unit. Apply and go and search for the business unit. Select it and click on save and close. The scope has been changed to SM1 business unit, and we will enable all the features for the business unit. We will use the existing primary ledger, that is US primary ledger. And legal entity is US1 legal entity. Save and close. Now we'll create a business unit set assignments. Manage business unit set assignments. This is the task. Click on go to task. Here we don't change anything. For all the referenced data objects, the reference data set code is common as of now, which is default. We are not going to make any changes. We'll keep it as it is and we will say save and close. Creating bank branch and bank account. This we have covered in the AP module videos. I will share the link to that video in the description link, which you can do that. You can check that. But for now, in this demo, we will be using the existing bank. There is already Bank of America defined in the system with different bank accounts. We will use one of that bank account. So we will just go there and see manage bank account whether that is available, which we can use it later. Manage bank accounts is the task. Click on go to task and let's search. Bank is Bank of America. If you search with Bank of America, so there are different Bank of America we have multiple bank branches and bank accounts. So we will use Bank of America 2869 account for our demonstration. So we are not going to create again from the scratch the bank branch and bank account. We are not going to create a custom SM branch and SM account. Instead of that, we'll be in the keep it simple. We will use this, and how to create that we have already covered in accounts payable module. I'll be sharing the link of the video in the description. You can have a look at it if you would like to see that. So I'll mark it green as we have the bank available in the system, which we can use it. Now I'll move on to the system options. The navigation is manage system options. Manage receivable system options. Let me update it. Click on create icon and select the business unit. It is not showing that. Yeah, we have SM business unit. I'm selecting SM business unit. So for SM business unit, we have billing and revenue. This is first tab and cash processing is the second tab. So billing is a part where we create AR invoice and send it to the customer. Means we are billing the customer for some amount which he has to pay that. And then he will make a payment for that invoice and we will create a receipt. And that is a revenue for our organization. So in the billing and receiving tab, we'll be covering all the required setups for these two functional areas in this tab. And once we get the cash from the customer, uh, then that cash has to send to the bank and then this has to be reconciled. That is a cash processing. that those related defaulting setups are there in the cash processing tab. So let us just review like split amount, days in sales outstanding calculation. These are like require salesperson, application rule set. We say lines first, tax after. We can select this value. Discount basis on invoice amount. These are different options that we have. So the main intention that we should know is like going further, if you want to implement some functionality, if you or if something is not allowing you to at the transaction level, always keep in mind that we should come and look back at here, because this is the repository of all the one-time setups for AR that can impact the entire processing of the module, functionality of the module. So that's where we should keep it in our mind. And let us enter all the account. To keep it simple, right now I'll just use one account for everything, and we'll move on that so that we can proceed on other in- topics. And moving on to the transactions, printing options, some taxes. We are not giving item validation organization. And if you want to if you want to deliver it to the customer over email, we will set up how we'll do that transaction delivery and statement delivery, right? Customer grouping rule, we'll keep it default. Yeah, these are the main options. If we have late payment charges for the customer, those related setups are here. And moving on to the cash processing, here we can set up auto cash rule set. We'll keep it invoice match, but these are not mandatory right now. We'll keep the thing simple. Uh, it will take the default values if you don't enter it. Chargeback date is entered date, and the accounts that we entered in the other tab has been defaulted to here. Gains losses account, invoices for commit. If we are doing automatic receipts through some process, automated process, how many invoices we can commit at a time. I'm saving it. So we have completed setting up the system options, receivable system options. Moving on to the payment terms. Payment terms tells like in how many days customer has to pay the organization for the invoice that he has received. So there are multiple, we can create our own custom payment terms with different terms, like in how many days he has to pay. If he pays in 10 days after receiving the invoice, how much discount he can get it. We can set it up all those custom rules in the payment terms. But right now we are not going to do that. We will mainly use one of the existing payment terms that are there in the system. Let's review. Navigation is manage payment terms. Yeah, manage receivables payment terms. See, there are many different payment terms that are already defined in the system, which we can use for our purpose. Here, like immediate, we can use immediate. Like once the customer gets the invoice, he has to pay on the immediate basis. I will move on to the receivable activities. The navigation is manage receivable activities. Click on plus icon. And here we can see, right, there are many receivable activities in the system. Different activity types like adjustments on the invoice, any bank errors, receivable fund recovery, credit card chargeback, credit card refund, payment, prepayment, refund. So these are all the activities, possible activities that can happen in the system. So we have to create one activity for each activity for our business unit. That is that these are the master data, we can call it out as all the possible activities that can happen in the AR. But for each activity, we should create one corresponding activity to our business unit. Then only these will be applicable or available when we are creating transactions in our business unit. So for we will create just one activity for adjustments. We will create one thing to see our SM business unit. I'll call it SM adjustments. Activity GL account. So when we select activity GL, it will ask us the account. So this is what is important when we are performing some transactions for this SM adjustments activity. It will use the account that we are giving here. I'm taking some account to keep it simple, right? But the functionality is when we are performing a transaction in AR for this receivable activity, it uses the account that is defined in the activity GL account field for accounting. Now let's create auto accounting rules. So auto accounting rule is used in conjunction with GL accounting key flex field, and it is used by artificial receivables to derive the segment values such as company, account, department for GL account. So using these auto accounting rules, it is similar to like we can say below the SLA process. Here for that transaction, we are going to derive the code combination ID, which we will be using the auto accounting rules. Let us go back to manage auto accounting rules. Click on plus, select the business unit, account type, So this accounting rule is specific to the account type. These are all possible accounts that we have in AR. Let us take a receivable account. Here we can set it up for receivable account. What is the value source? We can say transaction type. So in the transaction, when we are defining a transaction type, and this transaction, when we define a transaction type, we will enter the accounts there. So the company will be for receivable account, the company segment will be picked from the transaction types. The line of business segment can be picked either from transaction type, salesperson, or customer site. Uh, So for now, we will give it as a transaction type. So it means that when we create an AR invoice, we should be giving a transaction type, and in that transaction type, whatever the accounts are defined, from that it will pick these segments and it will form the code combination ID. Similarly, we can do the same for other accounts as well, right? We can enter one more thing. I'll take revenue receivable account. We already did it for receivable. I'll take revenue because these are the two accounts we'll be using quite often in the which will be accounted for invoices and payments. Save and close. So let us check if our entries are saved. I don't see the entry for SM business unit. Let us try to create one more time. If there is some, if it is already created, it will at least stop us. Oh, okay. SM business unit receivable segments. It is showing here. Okay. Let me go and create one more for revenue. Yeah, we have it even for revenue. These are the segments for revenue account. So we are good. And let's move on to the transaction type. Yeah, let's continue the next activity, transaction types. We will create the different transaction types, and these transaction types are required when we are entering the AR invoices. So when we are entering the AR invoices, we generally create a standard invoice or credit memo or debit memo. So for these three different kinds of documents, there is different transaction classes, and we have to create a transaction type with those transaction classes. So I'm navigating to the instance. The navigation is like manage transaction types, and you can go to manage transaction types. Click on go to task, click on create icon. Transaction type set, we can select default transaction type set. Let us look for enterprise. Yeah, let us take enterprise set as transaction type set, and legal entity is optional, and we'll make it SM invoice. And transaction class, let us take invoice. If you see the transaction classes, we have invoices, debit memo, credit memo, chargeback, bills receivable. We will look into all these types of documents later. Now we are trying to create the transaction type for invoice transaction class. So I named it as SM invoice. Transaction status is open. Generate bill, yes. We can leave the other fields as is, and let us save the changes. We have to associate the transaction type to a business unit. Then only when you are creating a document, AR document, maybe invoice, credit memo, or debit memo, or chargeback, or bills receivable, right? There will be a field business unit. So if you associate this transaction type to the business unit, then only you can use it when creating a transaction for that business unit. I'm selecting the SM business unit. is not showing over here. Let me check. Let us take common data set. I think our legal entity, sorry, our business unit is associated with the common data set. That is the reason we are not getting. Build in. Let us close this form and let's try to recreate. SM invoice. Transaction class is invoice. Transaction status is open. Generate bill is yes. Save. Click on plus symbol to associate the business unit. Now it is showing the business unit. It is because of transaction type set issue. Let us enter the required accounts. Let us use the same account for everything. Let me recreate it. Yeah, it associated with the business unit as well. Let me give the same accounts for others. They are not mandatory. Save and close. I will edit this to avoid confusion later point. Okay. Now let me create another two more transaction types, one for debit memo and one for credit memo. Transaction class is debit memo. Open. Yes. Associated with the business unit. Create another. Some credit memo. Open. Yes. Save and close. Oh, we have completed the transaction types creation. Let us create transaction source. The navigation is manage transaction sources. Common set. I'll name it as SM manual source. Last transaction number I'll make it 1000. So it starts with the number 1000. We can save and close. We are done with creating a transaction source, which we will use it later. Next, let us create a remit to address. Remit to address uses in our Oracle applications to know your customers where to send the payment of their invoices. So in the real world, customer buys some item from the organization for whom we will send an invoice, right? And he has to make the payment to that. And remit to address is the address to which he sends his payments. So we have to create such remit to addresses. Manage remit to addresses. Click on go to tasks. Here we can click on create icon. Create receipt for criteria. This is remit to address. Like we can select the country as well. It shows all the remit to addresses in United States, and we can create one more remit to address. Address set will be common. We can use this address. I am using file 11. Save and close. Check if it has been created. Yeah, it is created. Site receipt from criteria, we can keep like United States. Postal code, we can keep like 5 digits. Save and close. We can leave them blank. Let us try to save it. Already it is okay. So we'll say 28217 to 28217. Save and close. I think we already have it. That is the reason it is not allowing to. Let us try with some other. Okay. Yeah, it has created the remit to address. um, so I think we are good. Let us just open it and see. Yeah, it is already created. Let us close it. I have completed the remit to address. The next task is creating a standard memo lines. So actually in the real world, customer buys some item from us, from an organization. It could be any daily supplies or any item, the way we buy from Amazon, and we will be invoicing for that item. If you want to create an invoice for a customer without item, we can create define standard memo lines in AR and enter them as a line as an item in the AR standard invoice, and you can create invoice to the customer using that memo line. So we'll try to create standard memo line. This we will use it while creating the invoice. Manage standard memo lines. Go to task. Click on create symbol. Memo line set, it will be common. Name SM standard memo line. Will be at line level. Other fields are optional, and let us associate it with the business unit so that we can use it when we are entering the transactions for SM business unit. Revenue account we can enter. You can say revenue hardware. Save and close. Save and close. Moving on to the next setup, creating receipt classes and methods. The receipt classes will be used when we are creating the receipt for standard AR invoice. The navigation is manage receipt classes and methods. Click on go to task. Let us give a name, SM receipt class. And we have to create a method for that receipt class. SM receipt method. Remittance bank account. Here we thought we will use an existing bank account. for our transactions. So let us recreate it. It is not saved. Oh, no, before we do that, right, we have to associate the bank account to the SM business unit. So we'll first do the task and come back here. Manage bank accounts. Go to the task manage bank accounts and select Bank of America. We want to use Bank of America account 2869. So let us open that account, and in the business unit access, let us associate it with SM business unit. Click on edit. SM business unit. Okay. Save the changes and close. Now navigate to the manage receipt classes. And methods. Click on create symbol. SM receipt class. We'll say it manual. A receipt method, we will name it as SM receipt method. And we will associate with the remittance bank account. Cancel. Save and close. Let us see if there is an object with that name. No. Why is it throwing error? Let us try again. Save. Now let's create method. SM. Save it. Now go to the bank account section. Primary key. Let us see if it shows SM bank account now. SM business unit is coming. We Bank of America. Account is 2869. For time being, we'll give the same account for all the mandatory account fields. Save and close. Save and close. Let us check if our receipt class has been created. Yes, it is created. So our next step is we are going to create a receipt source. Manage receipt source. Click on go to task manage receipt sources. Click on create symbol. Business unit is SM business unit. SM receipt source. It's manual. Receipt class we can associate it. We have created SM receipt class. Receipt method is SM receipt method. Bank account is Bank of America 2869. Save and close. Verify if that is available. Yes, SM receipt sources has been created. Save and close. So I'll take a pass here, and in the next session we will discuss how to assign the required rules for AR, providing the data access, running LDAP process, creating the customers. After that, we will create a standard invoice, do the accounting, and we'll create a receipt for the standard invoice and do the accounting, and we'll verify the accounting entries. Thank you.